welcome to the children's sermon. You came back. Glad to have you with us once again. I'm reading, as I always do in my special chair, the Jesus Storybook Bible. And as I told you, I've been trying to make sure we use and go through every story in this Bible. And so today we're going to read The Teeny Weeny True King. And this is a story about King David, only before he became King David. And the reason we're reading this today is because on Sunday in church, we're going to hear in the gospel reading this famous line where it says, "The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone." And so that's what we're going to hear in the gospel reading on Sunday morning during church. But during this children's sermon, I wanted you to hear about the story of how David became king, because it follows a similar theme as that gospel passage. So anyways, let's get right to it. We're going to hear the story read. Then our friend Jason Jaster is back to help out with the children's sermon once again. And then we'll cap it all back off back here. See you in a minute. The Teeny Weeny True King. God's people had a new land. Now they wanted a king. But God is your king, Samuel told them. He is the one who looks after you best. We want a real king, they said, one we can see. God knew that a king might not be kind to his people or look after them as well as he would. But God's people didn't care. They wanted a king, and they wanted him now. So God gave them a king. He was called Saul, and he seemed like a good king at first, but he became proud and stopped listening to God. He didn't obey God or love God with his whole heart. Saul can't help me with my plan, God said. I need a king who loves me and will teach my people to love me. I need a true king. God had just the one in mind. Go to Bethlehem, God told Samuel. You'll find the new king there. Samuel's job was to listen to God and tell people what God said. So Samuel went to the little town of Bethlehem. God told Samuel to go to Jesse's house. God was going to choose one of Jesse's sons to be the new king. Jesse had 7 strong sons. Now, in those days, if you were going to be the king, you didn't have to be the richest or the cleverest, although that was always nice. You had to look like a king, which meant you had to be the tallest and the strongest, so you could carry the longest sword and biggest armor and defeat everyone. And it didn't hurt to be handsome either. Samuel asked Jesse to bring him each son in turn. So Jesse brought the oldest, tallest, strongest son. This must be the new king, Samuel thought. He looks like a king. But God didn't choose him. You're thinking about what he looks like on the outside, God told Samuel, but I am looking at his heart, what he's like on the inside. So Jesse showed Samuel his next oldest, tallest, strongest son. But God didn't choose him either. In fact, God didn't choose any of the 7 sons. Samuel said, "Is that all?" Jesse laughed. "Oh, well, there's the youngest one, but he's just the weakling of the family. He's only teeny." "Bring him," said Samuel. Jesse's youngest son came running up, and God spoke quietly to Samuel. "This is the one." His name was David. "He has a heart like mine," God said. "It is full of love. He will help me with my secret rescue plan, and one of his children's children's children will be the king, and that king will rule the world forever." Samuel anointed David's head with oil, which was a special way to show that you are God's chosen king. "You will be the new king one day," Samuel told him. And sure enough, when he grew up, David became king. God chose David to be king because God was getting his people ready for an even greater king who was coming. Once again, God would say, "Go to Bethlehem. You'll find the new king there." And there, one starry night in Bethlehem, in the town of David, 3 wise men would find him.
This is some magnificent water. I've been wondering. I've heard that, salt doesn't really change water. So I think I'll try to put just a little bit of salt in. And just show that I can drink salt. drinking salt water. Never actually tried this before. Oh, okay. Little goes a long way. Know that. A little bit of something goes a long way.
Hey, welcome back. I got a new shirt on, new cup of tea. Things are a little bit different, but we got to talk about what just happened. Our friend Jason, thanks Jason once again, did a little skit for us where he drank some salt water, which is really gross. Don't try that at home. But he's told us that a little bit can make a big difference. And it's funny too, because we also heard that story about King David, who was really, really small and not exactly what you were expecting. But King David made a huge difference for the people of Israel. And then later on, as the story kind of was hinting at, baby Jesus is going to come in a manger. And he'll be really little and tiny. And of course, as we know, Jesus makes all the difference in the universe for us. The point is that God uses sometimes unexpected and sometimes seemingly small things to make a big difference in our world. God uses all sorts of stuff that we wouldn't necessarily choose ourselves. And so that is just a reminder that when things seem hopeless, when it seems like there might not be any chance at all, that God still might have a plan that we just aren't expecting yet. So as I told you, the gospel passage on Sunday morning is going to have this special line, the stone that the builders have rejected has become the cornerstone. That's the same idea. Something that's unexpected, something that's small and seemingly meaningless, that can become the cornerstone of God's plan for the world. And so now we got to put our faith into practice, right? That's what we do here on these children's sermons. So I've got a homework assignment for you. Find something unexpected and use it to talk about God. Let me give you an example. You could just grab a stapler and say, oh, hey, this stapler is like God because God holds things together. Or you could be like, yeah, God is like a cup of tea because God makes me feel warm and cozy and safe. You get the idea. Take something random, something unexpected, some random object, and use it to tell someone else about God. I'm Pastor Nate. This has been the children's sermon for this week. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.